Today on the channel, we continue to celebrate the best of 2024, and today we're counting down my top 10 miscellaneous wrestling action figures of 2024.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Best of 2024 countdown. And today, we're counting down my top 10 miscellaneous wrestling figures of 2024. Now, this is everything that isn't AEW, everything that isn't Mattel, of course, WWE, Jazzwares AEW, the big time players, the ones you can find at the Targets and Walmarts of the world. This is everything else under the sun, and a lot of good figures that really flew under the radar. Of course, not every collector is going to be picking these up. Not every collector is going to even know about some of these. However, a lot of fun figures that came out in 2024 that we reviewed and talked about on the channel, and I want to celebrate them, not just the Mattel stuff, not just the Jazzwares stuff. And as usual, of course, we're going to start the countdown at number 10. Work our way to number 1. Number 1 being my absolute favorite miscellaneous wrestling figure of 2024. And as usual, I have to say it, but I always do. This is my list. Put your list in the comments down below. Make sure you put them in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. But I'm very excited to see where things go in 2025, as we got so many different companies making figures. Now, there's not going to be any retro wrestling figures, the Hasbro style. They have their own countdown. Same thing with WWE Superstar style figures. The WWE Superstar Mattel figures have their own countdowns, so they're not going to be a part of this list. This is the other companies out there. One company that you're going to see missing from this list is a very controversial one. Somebody cue up Ventura.
You ever wonder if they're watching your every move? Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it.
It is the Powertown brand, and they made a lot of promises in 2024. Unfortunately, did not deliver on those figures. I have my fingers crossed that we could see 10 Powertown figures in this list next year. Powertown has a lot of product that is supposed to be coming out starting in just a couple of weeks here in January. We'll see if that happens, but they have TNA series, they got the Ultra series, they got the Remco series, possibly the Galoob style series. They got a lot of stuff coming out, as well as Matt and Brian 2-pack, which should be out very soon as well. A lot of stuff. So I have to imagine next year when we're here at the table, we're going to have almost all Powertown figures. I am very excited about a lot of those. I just hope they come to fruition. So I guess we'll stay tuned to those reviews in 2025 and this best of miscellaneous figure video at the end of 2025. So without further ado, though, let's get down to it. Let's kick it off. Number 10. Kick off the countdown here at number 10. And number 10, a good friend of the channel, a good brother out there. A guy I saw a couple of times in 2024. Hopefully see him again in 2025. This time we're taking a trip to Super 7 and their Ultimate line. We're going to one Brian Myers, the most professional of all wrestlers, as we do know. Coming in at number 10, this is version 2 of Brian Myers. And as I mentioned earlier, looking forward to his Powertown figure in 2025. Obviously, a lot of repaint, a lot of reuse from the last Brian Myers from Super 7. You got to get the most out of your molds after all. But a good one. I like the deco. I like the different colors on this one. Of course, the entrance vest he wears. A lot to like about this one here. Is it absolutely perfect? It is not. Will we get more Super 7 Bryans? Not so sure. But for what we got right here in 2024, Brian Myers Ultimate Edition comes in at number 10. Next up in the countdown, we're at the number 9 spot. And this time, we take a trip to San Diego. Beautiful this time of year, and we take a look at the Legends of Lucha Libre boss fight exclusive to San Diego Comic-Con. It is the bloody edition of Vampiro. You know me, I'm a sucker for a bloody figure. I also really do like Vampiro, and Vampiro, a guy getting a lot of figures later on in his career than he did earlier on. He got a few, of course, WCW, CMLL, but it seems like boss fight really leaning in with Vampiro, which, man, I'm here for that. So Vampiro, a good one here. Obviously a re-release of his original figure. Just bloodied up. A fun figure nonetheless, and it comes in at number 9. We're feeling great at number 8, and you could go so far as to say, oh, What a rush. Of course, this year we finally got some Road Warriors Legion of Doom figures. We talked about the Road Warriors in our Big Rubber Guy countdown. Check that out if you did miss that. But this time it comes from the Ringside Collectible bell-to-bell line of the Remco style figures of Hawk and Animal Legion of Doom in their classic Legion of Doom shoulder pads. Would love to see this repainted with the black NWA version. Maybe we'll get that in the future, or better yet, even the blue version. No other word out of this bell-to-bell collection from Ringside, so it could be done for all we know, or they might surprise us like they did the first time around with these figures. But man, oh man, anytime I get some Road Warriors, I'm here for this. And the one cool thing about this set is, maybe you don't like this style of figure for whatever reason, these shoulder pads are amazing. If you're missing shoulder pads for your Mattel Elites, your Jakks Classic Superstars, you have a custom out there, maybe you want to do something like that, Bone Crunchers is another one. These pair perfectly with that, like we saw in the review we did here on the channel. So there is some meat on the bone for this one if you want these beyond the figures, as shoulder pads sometimes get pretty expensive. This is a cheap way to get some shoulder pads on your Legion of Doom figures. So a very, very fun set right here. That's why it comes in at number 8. Next up, we're at number 7, and like a young Weezer from the Pinkerton album, we go across the sea. We go for a little import figure here, this time from Bandai. What do we got at number 7? We got the Great Muta, a bit of a sleeper figure this year, and we unboxed this on the channel, and I talked about it. I had no idea what the price point on this one was. It was all in yen, everything. I said, I'm just going to order and hope for the best, and I still don't know how much this costs. Probably 40 bucks, something like that. However, we're so hard up for Great Muta figures, we're willing to take chances. Or maybe I should just speak for myself. I'm willing to take chances on a figure like this. Now, we know next year we're going to get the Great Muta from Mattel. Have to imagine he'll be on the top of some Elite and Ultimate lists. That's for future Kyle, of course. But this Great Muta, a little underwhelming, yes, but the more I've played around with this one, the more I've looked at it, I've really come to enjoy it. It is very simple figure. Of course, it does have the gadget and gizmo. You can take the head off and spray stuff. That's not for me. I'm an adult collector, right? Todd's shaking his head yes, and Todd, brother in arms, of course. But I do like this Great Muta. It is very simple. It has some simplicity to it, but you could mix this in with your Elites if that is what you want to do. It's not the greatest figure of all time. It's number 7 this year in the best of Miscellaneous, but there is a certain charm about this one. And once again, I don't know if it's just because we haven't had Great Muta figures, really. Maybe that's it. Any way you slice it, it's still pretty fun for what it is, and I enjoyed this figure, and that's why it's coming in at number 7 in my top 10 list. Working our way down the countdown, we're at number 6, and number 6 was one of the funnest reviews we did on the channel this year, as I did get a special guest to do the intro with me. This performer also toured my collection, and there's even a video on his YouTube channel, and of course my YouTube channel. I recommend to check both parts out on my YouTube channel for a little bit more in-depth, but if you want a quick overview, the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast has that for you as well. But the number 6 one comes to us from Super 7, the Ultimate line. It is Matt Cardona version 3, and Matt was nice enough to join me for the intro of this video, and we would have done the whole video if he didn't have a wrestling show to get to. Would have had some more time. It would have been fun to do a full-on unboxing with Matt as we go through that one there. Now, this is a very cool figure, a very good-looking figure. Is it the best figure from Matt Cardona? Not quite, but I do like what this represents. A last-minute addition here. Of course, it came out really blowing up the model for Super 7 in a lot of ways, as we usually have to wait a year or more. This was basically available a month after he debuted this on his great comeback, so it's got a lot of charm to it, a lot of fun to it. Obviously very vibrant, full-on Jurassic Park as well. Not a bad figure at all, coming in at number 6 in my top 10 list. Alright, we've hit the halfway point of the countdown. Do you got your list together? Put it in the comments down below. Make sure you put it in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel. We're on a journey to 50,000 subscribers, and I would like to see you guys there, and you gals too, but please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. But let's kick it off here at number 5, and number 5 is a recent one right down to the wire, possibly the last wrestling figure I unboxed in 2024. This one is coming from the Legends of Lucha Libre once again. It is the New York Comic-Con exclusive version of Vampiro, and I'm a sucker for Vampiro. I'm a sucker for face paint. I'm a sucker for rockabilly. I'm a sucker for the rockabilly apocalypse with Vampiro. A very, very cool figure. Maybe not all the bells and whistles and the articulation, but a very cool figure looks-wise. An awesome packaging design on this one as well with the coffin. Just a whole lot to like about this Vampiro figure. And we're going to have another edition of Vampiro here not too far away. Next couple of weeks, I would have to imagine, on the channel as part of the more deluxe assortment from Legends of Lucha Libre. So for me, that'll be a 2025 release, not 2024. But man, this Vampiro coming down to the wire in the coffin, hitting spot number 5. We've hit the number 4 spot in the countdown, and this could be the most confusing wrestling figure of 2024. Who's coming in at number 4? Well, is it an AEW figure? Is it a TNA figure? Is it a Ring of Honor figure? Is it a figure from the Indies? I'm not really sure, and I can see a lot of people putting this, of course, part of Ring of Honor or possibly AEW, but there was so much confusion, I said, you know what? He's going to the miscellaneous pile for me, and that's where he's coming in at number 4. It is Black Machismo himself. It is Jay Lethal. Now, the biggest confusion here is there was no Ring of Honor or AEW logo on the package, so it was kind of left flapping in the wind. Obviously, he came with the Ring of Honor title belt there, but you could easily say this is TNA version and Indies version. We're not really sure, and of course, the All-In pay-per-view this is from was before AEW, so a very confusing one here, and I figured, you know what? I'm going to throw a curveball to everybody. I'm going to put him in the miscellaneous because of all that. A very good figure here, multiple heads, a sleeper figure if there ever was one. A very, very good figure. Would love to pick up maybe another one of these on clearance down the line in 2025 from Ringside. A very, very fun one is Black Machismo, Jay Lethal, and he comes in at number 4. Down to the final 3, and the number 3 performer we already saw on the channel, but I prefer this one over that one just by a hair or maybe 2. What are we talking about? Well, once again, we're going to Super 7. We're going to the Ultimate Edition line. We're going to one Matt Cardona and the Matt Cardona version 2. And it really just comes down to, I prefer the color combinations on this one instead of the Jurassic Park ones. Both amazing figures for what they are, but this one, I just like the color and the look. Obviously, an easy repaint between the two, but a very, very fun figure right here. Love the spikes like a young LOD. Just love the Nasty Boys colors on this one. And then you get the extra personality with the middle finger. Of course, the glasses, title belt as well. A lot to like about this one that puts it over that one and propels it all the way to number 3 in my top 10 year-end list. Getting down to the finish line, we're at the number 2 selection. The number 2 selection comes to us once again from the MLW Boss Fight wave. And this one was one of those ones that was fairly popular. However, this performer decided to take his talents to the WWE, which made this figure absolutely explode in value. And I think MLW did, or I should say Boss Fight more like it, did get some more of these figures out there because obviously they want to make the money instead of people on eBay and stuff. But what is this figure, this magical figure that shot up in value in 2024? It is the Samoan Werewolf. It is Jacob Fatu. And a lot of people say, Kyle, in the review you did earlier this year, you predicted the absolute future of the whole Bloodline saga. Maybe I'm a clairvoyant like a young Iron Maiden. You never know. But check out the review of Jacob Fatu on the channel. But a fabulous, fabulous figure. Beautifully done here. Mattel's got to step it up a little bit to compete with this one. I'm sure the Mattel team is up to the task. And we'll see Jacob Fatu, of course, in 2025. Part of the Elite line. And who knows, possibly Ultimate as well. But we'll never forget our first. And the first one we got was from the MLW line. A very good figure. Definitely one that can mix in with your elites, and I know a lot of people are doing that right now. So Jacob Fatu comes in at number 2, which means there can only be one. What is the number 1 miscellaneous wrestling figure of 2024? Man, it might surprise you. All right, we're at the number 1 spot, the number 1 miscellaneous wrestling figure of 2024. Do you got your list together? One last time, put it in the comments down below. Make sure you put it in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel. Videos every single day. Check out all the best of year-end videos. And of course, my recent toy collection tour. You don't want to miss that, part 1 and part 2. So here we are at the very end. We're here, the number 1 figure. And like I said, this is probably going to surprise a lot of people. I would have to think most people would have this on their top 10. Maybe, maybe not. But for me, this one stole my heart and never let go like a young Rio. Because, of course, I love my giant figures. I love my hairy bipedal creatures. I love my face paint. I love my colorful tattoos. but I also love the little guys. I love the little figures, and we got the littlest wrestling figure of all time this year in 2024. Once again from MLW Boss Fight, we got Micro Man gearing up for his big match against Swoggle here in a couple of weeks. But I love this figure. It's fun to get these giant figures. It's fun to get stuff like that. But to get a mini figure like this one, man, oh man, very cool. Now, the price point turns a lot of people off because how is this the same price as a regular figure? I understand that. Maybe it would have worked better in a 2-pack or a cheaper cost or put in with an accessories pack or something. I do understand that, but however, there is individual tooling that has to go into something like this. So I also understand that as well. But man, oh man, it is worth the money for me. I love mini figures like this. I would love to see more minis, especially from Mexico, where most of them do seem to come from. Would love, love, love to see more of that. Get the most out of your molds. Let's get a mini pack. Let's do some of that. There's a lot of crazy characters over the years that would look good in action figure form, and I would definitely be here for that. But this Micro Man stole my heart, never let go, as I said, comes in at number 1 in 2024 in the miscellaneous wrestling figure category. So there it is. That's my list. Once again, get yours together. Put it in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, check out my Patreon. All kinds of stuff over there. Early access to all the videos from both channels. Giveaways, Q&As, bonus stuff, you name it. It's all over there. ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. Of course, my book, The Complete Guide to the Jakks Class Superstar Series. About 700 pages. It's a long read. Now available on Kindle. Of course, SirPaul64 over there on the X. _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, and now on TikTok. So for another Best of 2024 list, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.